for deeper analysis, we have Nadine Maenza, co-chair of the International Religious Freedom Roundtable. Nadine, thank you for joining us. Last time we spoke, you were in Armenia. Tell me, what are your initial thoughts on today's deal?
Well, I'm surprised by the warmth that we saw between all the leaders today in the press conference, by the enthusiasm and by the confidence that this could be a lasting peace. I think that was a surprise considering how long and brutal this conflict has been.
Absolutely long and brutal. We saw some of the effects of that, and you were describing it for us when you were on our show a week ago. You mentioned that Armenia has been confronted by a genocidal intent for decades. Will this deal change that?
You know, that is the question that we're all asking, and we're all wanting to be optimistic, and we want peace. The people of Armenia want peace. The people of Azerbaijan want peace. And hopefully the U.S. will help them go through this process of working together. But there's still so many details that we haven't even talked about. How about the 23 prisoners of war that are still being held in Azerbaijan, including some of the former political leaders of Nagorno-Karabakh? The right of return question was asked to both leaders. Will the refugees be able to return to Nagorno-Karabakh? And both leaders didn't answer that question. While this was happening, heard from one of my colleagues on the trip that spoke to one of the political leaders in Armenia that said, you know, that they felt like that could be something that could be brought up later once this peace has been established, but they weren't panicking that no one answered the question. I think everyone understood they're not quite there yet.
But it's important to get there. What does it mean that the United States brokered this deal? Is there any kind of guarantee that now that the United States is involved, that Azerbaijan will be more or less likely to honor this peace deal?
Well, that's the question. We've seen agreements before, or ceasefires, for instance, in northeast Syria, where Turkey continued to shell day after day, and where everyone pretended like the ceasefire was a success. So the question is, will Azerbaijan be held accountable if they continue to shoot across the border as they do every night? Will they shoot tonight across the border and tomorrow night? We'll know pretty quickly if we see any sort of those kind of conflicts, and I hope that the U.S. won't turn away. I do know the U.S. is not providing hard security guarantees. This corridor is not a security one, it's an economic one. So there's going to be a lot of trust being given to Azerbaijan now. But this could be a win economically for both countries. Peace would be a win for both countries. So there's lots of good reasons why everyone should work together to make this peace last.
And are you hopeful then for the future of Christian Armenians and for the preservation of their heritage?
I'm hopeful for this country. They are on the right track. They're growing economically. They have so much potential, highly educated, very cohesive, but they do have these threats that have been around them that have really been what's been interfering with their future. So if this could be what settles that for them, so that they could live in this region without the persecution, without the threats from Russia, Iran on their border, or they already have tough neighbors. But of course, you know, Azerbaijan and Turkey has been the one that they've seen the most violence from. So if that could be settled and they could actually focus on developing their country and practicing their faith, it's embraced in such a beautiful way there. And you know, Pope Francis visited in 2016 to Armenia, and he actually went to the border of Turkey, and he let doves go to think about what peace could mean. And I think he'd be really happy to know this peace agreement had been signed and that there is this potential for peace. And so for that reason, we have to be optimistic.
Well, we're hopeful because we're Christians. Thank you so much, Nadine. Really appreciate it. And we'll be watching for tonight's response from Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you.